This looks like a picture of something that's probably happened in places like, I don't know, maybe Mexico, Puerto Rico, right? You have what's clearly a Mexican or some other descent, not white, whatever, marching down a street with the communist flag and the communist star. But no, this is not Puerto Rico or anything like that. It is Los Angeles. Communist illegal aliens openly marching in Los Angeles. Being that fantastic illegal communist, let's talk a little bit about the immigration policy in America. First, if you cross the North Korean border illegally, you get 12 years hard labor. If you cross the Iranian border legally, you are detained indefinitely. If you cross the Afghan border legally, you get shot. If you cross the Saudi Arabian border legally, you will be jailed. If you cross the Chinese border illegally, you may never be heard from again. If you cross the Venezuelan border illegally, you will be branded a spy and your fate will be sealed. If you cross the Mexican borders illegally, you will be jailed for 2 years. If you cross the Mexican borders illegally, you're jailed for 2 years. If you cross the Cuban border legally, you will be thrown into political prison to rot. Okay? Every other nation, just about, except for the European Union nations, like, okay, so if you cross the Russia border illegally, you get jailed. But let's see how that, for America. If you cross the United States border illegally, you get a job, a driver's license, a social security card, welfare, food stamps, credit cards, subsidized rent or loan to buy a house, free education, free health care, a lobbyist in Washington, billions of dollars in public documents printed in your language, millions of servicemen and women who are willing to, and do, die for your right to the ways and means of our Constitution. But the best one is, and the right to carry the flag of your country, the one you walk down on, while you call America racist and protest that you don't get enough respect.
Is our homeland. We cannot, we will not, and we must not be made illegal in our own homeland. We are not immigrants that came from another country to another country. We are migrants free to travel the length and breadth of the Americas because we belong here. We are millions. We just have to survive. We have an aging white America. They are not making babies. They are dying. It's a matter of time. The explosion is in our population.
Professor Rumbaugh offered the statistic to support the frightening claims of Professor Gutierrez.
That half of all U.S. population growth in the last 5 years is due solely to Hispanic population growth. And that is no longer due anymore to immigration. It is primarily due to fertility, to natural increase. Given that young age structure, the Hispanic population is going to account for the lion's share of total U.S. population growth, not just for the next 10 years, but for the next several decades, regardless of what you do about immigration.
Although it's still an important issue, we don't need to be hysterical about the number of Hispanics sneaking across our borders. They're here. Our major concern should be what they're going to do with the rest of us.
A crucial issue in the next 10 years by 2016 will be what we call the second generation in California and in the United States. That is, the U.S.-born children of foreign-born parents, of the immigrants. The majority of this second generation consists mostly of children. Their presence is being felt today in elementary and secondary schools, especially in places like Los Angeles and throughout California. And they're just beginning now to be felt in these new destinations, because now the flow is no longer restricted to California and Texas and Arizona. It's now in all of the 50 states. But by 2016, this population is going to be crucial in the workforce, in higher education, indeed at the ballot box, and they're going to have an impact disproportionate to the numbers that may be perceived today.
Why? Because, as Professor Gutierrez threatened, we have an aging white population. Both he and Professor Rumbaugh suggest that in the United States, the white folks are dying as a race.
Demographers have something they call a vital ratio. It's a ratio of birth to deaths. The vital ratio of the non-Hispanic white population today is 1. There's 1 birth for every death. The vital ratio of the Hispanic population of the U.S. today is 8. There are 8 births for every death.
8 to 1. And so within the next several decades, the Hispanic population will increase 8-fold in relationship to the non-Hispanics. Even Professor Rumbaugh is concerned about this population imbalance. He related to the 2005 civil unrest in France that was perpetrated by the poor and disenfranchised subclasses in Paris.
They were second-generation French-born young men, children of immigrants who had been segregated in the Paris suburbs. What followed for weeks after that was riots, burning of cars, etc. And you may also remember in the same year that second-generation English-born Pakistanis in England were responsible for the bombing that took place in a bus and in the underground in London.
And so this same kind of burgeoning underclass could pose a severe threat to the peace and security of the United States. And if Professor Rumbaugh is correct, we will ignore this threat at our peril.
If you have a 12 million or whatever it might be underclass in the United States that is exploited, that has not been allowed to come above ground and regulated, many of whom are children and young people, and many of whom, incidentally, which is not part of the statistics, but somewhere between 3.5 to 4 million, are U.S.-born children who are in mixed statuses in the same families. What do you do with this population? That population has to be paid attention. You cannot afford to have a permanent underclass in those kinds of numbers and not risk the kind of interethnic group conflict and the kinds of things that we have seen in Europe.
We want to know what you, the viewers, think. Please respond to our survey. Number 1. Do you see a burgeoning underclass developing in the United States? Yes or no? Number 2. Do you feel the American government is adequately planning for our safety in the face of this population explosion? Yes or no? Number 3. Do you fear that civil unrest is inevitable as suggested by the panel? Yes or no? Please respond to our survey and be sure to leave your comments below. Thank you.
Real quick, I just received this while making the video you just saw. This is for my other account, DoomX1. Diversity the American Way. This is where I went step by step showing you how the term racism has been used to form a whole different meaning in America, and how the word diversity its meaning has changed completely in the modern day America, and how it hurts us, and how the Jewish influence is directly responsible for this. Of course, they deleted it, and my account over there is suspended, and they are trying to tell me that I'm prohibited from accessing, possessing, or creating other YouTube accounts. Well, sure.